the good word, y'all? DKB here. So, day 2 of the 2023 NFL free agency has come and gone, and the New York Jets have made a whopping one move. But that one move was very powerful. So, let's go ahead and recap day 2, which, by the way, before we jump into that, we are looking at Wednesday, the official start of the league year. So, there's going to be a lot of stuff that kicks off, and none bigger than Aaron Rodgers making an appearance on the Pat McAfee show at 1. I want to say it's 1 p.m., at least Pacific Standard Time for me. So I guess that equates to about 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for those of you in that time zone. But it's widely expected that Aaron Rodgers is going to make his official announcement on him continuing to play or retire, and potentially if he does decide to play, if that's going to be with the New York Jets. So I'm going to try to do a live stream for that, but I will be at work, so we will see what happens. But I'm very, very hyped for tomorrow. Now, back into the recap. So, again, so far during the first 2 days of legal tampering period, we've done very few moves, right? We have re-signed Quincy Williams, the linebacker. We have re-signed our kicker, Greg Zerline. We've issued a second-round tender to edge rusher Bryce Huff. And we have recently signed, and this happened yesterday on day 2, wide receiver Allen Lazard, Aaron Rodgers' favorite receiver during his core, at least within the last couple of years, while he's seen massive changes to his offense and very minimal resources provided there, actually. But before we dive into kind of how I feel or would grade the move, I would say it's probably important to note that Aaron Rodgers did have Allen Lazard on his so-called wish list of players he would like to see join the New York Jets. It was Allen Lazard, wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr., wide receiver Randall Cobb, and tight end Mercedes Lewis. Allen Lazard seemed like the easiest candidate. He would be the closest thing to a replacement for Corey Davis if we wanted to include him in a trade or potentially try to move on from him. Everybody else seems a little bit far-fetched. OBJ, Odell Beckham, I'm not anywhere close to entertaining the idea of him joining the Jets. Mercedes Lewis, I think, would be a hard sell because we already have 3 very capable tight ends, depending on how you feel about Ruckert, in the room. And so we're definitely not carrying 4. At least I can't envision it. So I'm not sure how we would swing that. And then Randall Cobb would be a nice boost from a guy like Braxton Berrios, who would come in as our 4th or 5th wide receiver and the primary backup slot wide receiver. But it seems like it could be, again, a little bit of a hard sell. We're talking about a guy that's just coming off a 3-year, $27 million contract. So I would imagine Braxton Berrios just got 2 years, $12 million from us, if I remember correctly. Randall Cobb will probably see something like 2 years, $16 million, something along those lines, but you get where the numbers are going. So we'll see what happens there. But in terms of Allen Lazard, I give the move a solid B. The reasoning is, when you want to objectively judge Corey Davis versus Allen Lazard from a statistical standpoint, which is what a lot of people are going to directly go to, the only objective measurable that Allen Lazard is really running away, and I use that term loosely, I think he has 3 or 4 more touchdowns from Corey Davis, is touchdowns. And it makes a lot of sense in the context that he's had a Hall of Famer throwing to him, and he's just coming off a season where he's been the de facto number 1 wide receiver, versus Corey Davis, who has had the likes of Ryan Tannehill, Mike White, and Zach Wilson throwing to him. And so I look at Corey Davis really as the better option if you want to talk about what we've already seen and what proven results have looked like. But we are seeing a significant bump in a guy that's been durable, and he brings the same traits, size, 6'5". He runs a 4.55. We're talking more of a possession guy and a huge red zone threat for this New York Jets team, which we need players that can help us dramatically in that area. Hence why I think Allen Lazard was a very, very smart signing. Hence why I love the idea that we're interested in Jamal Williams, and I really hope we go out there and target him. But we're talking those 2 players alone would give us a lot of credibility in terms of us being able to convert points once we get inside the 20. So I'm very hyped there. But yeah, as I mentioned, in terms of everything else, you're technically either staying the same from a talent perspective, or you may be taking a small step back from Corey Davis to Allen Lazard. He's a year younger. He has the chemistry with Aaron Rodgers already, so he's kind of getting some bonus points in those areas. But if we don't keep Corey Davis, which is looking less and less likely, although we did get Allen Lazard on a very, very good deal, essentially the same thing Jacoby Myers got for the Raiders. There's just an extra year tacked onto it. So all of that aside, I'm excited. I'm very excited for what this could look like moving forward. Now, there are some things that didn't sway our way during day 2, even though we couldn't make some other moves. Brindle, the center from the 49ers, he did ultimately end up re-signing with them. We did have some strong interest there as potentially the next center to lead the way if Connor McGovern doesn't come back. And we lost out to the Steelers again, who's poached a player from us that I thought could be really, really good. The Steelers signed guard Nate Herbig away from us on a 2-year, $8 million contract, $4 million guaranteed. And so thinking along those lines, maybe it's a bit much for a backup, even though it's a primary backup and he's had starting potential. Maybe a little bit too rich, but still, I thought what we saw last year and what could continue to happen as he built on things, especially with a healthier roster again, I thought he really could have proved to be a guy that could be here long term for us. But that's how things go. This is the territory that Joe Douglas has set us up for. We now care about like practice squad players and who's, taking up those slots. We now care about guys that are going to be backups and if we're able to retain them or not, as opposed to just trying to find a capable body to start and not make us want to, fall off the bleachers on Sunday. So I'm excited for all of these things. Either way, there's still a lot of guys out there that could really help this team out. Center is probably the least likely for us to find an upgrade, and so I do think we're trending towards maybe a reunion with Connor McGovern, even if that ends up on something like a 2-year deal as opposed to a 3-year deal. But still, it's looking like Connor McGovern and or the draft. And if I were the Jets, I would hit both. But either way, let me know what your guys' thoughts are. What were the craziest moments from day 2 of free agency for you? And what do you predict maybe the Jets will be looking for on day 3 of free agency? Either way, I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you again. Peace.